be well today. Hello Facebook, hello YouTube, how is everybody? Happy Monday, Makeup Monday. So I'm back here in my bedroom, got some lovely things to share with you. I've had lots of questions actually on my Instagram already, so I'm going to get through as many as I can. Hi Lainey, you are manning Facebook. Lainey is from my team, so she'll be putting in links to everything that I talk about. A lot of what I'm going to talk about actually is coming from Beauty Pie, which I put on my Instagram this morning. I love Beauty Pie. It's a really clever idea. It was founded by Marcia Kilgore, who is kind of a serial beauty brand founder. She started with Bliss Spa back in New York. She went on to found Fit Flop and Soap and Glory and Super Duper. And her latest thing is Beauty Pie. And the way it works is it's actually a membership scheme. So everything they sell is at cost price. It's extraordinary. So really good quality stuff. But you just pay what it costs them to have the factory make it. So no markups, no margins, nothing. So in order to get that, you join as a subscriber to Beauty Pie and you pay a fixed amount a month. You can choose. It can be as little, I think, as £5 to get access to all the incredible discounts. And the more you pay per month, the more access you get. So you go onto Beauty Pie website and have a look, and you take out a 3-month membership, which is their kind of shortest time as a trial. And then if you use Liz Loves, all one word, all in capitals, as always, that's my code, then you get your first month free. So seriously, there is nothing not to love. And in fact, if you want to hear Marcia and I talk, we recorded a podcast. Gosh, it must be, I don't know where the time goes, it all blurs, doesn't it? But it must be about 2 years ago now, maybe. And she talks about her career and her life and times, and that's well worth a listen. If you just go to your normal podcast app, if you put in Marcia and Liz Earle, I'm sure it will come up, or you can go to Earle Wellbeing. Obviously, if you look on the podcast section, then you'll find all the podcasts there. So that's a really good resource to have. So just to say welcome to all those who are new on Instagram. I know I've picked up lots of new followers. So very quickly, I started doing my Instagram lives a year ago. Gosh, is it really that long? In the very first lockdown, just as a way of connecting live with my lovely community here. And it has just sort of grown, and we've carried on doing it. So I'm here on a Monday, a Wednesday and a Friday live at lunchtime, and then I save it to my IGTV on Instagram, and it gets saved to Facebook as well, and it gets uploaded to YouTube. So lots of ways that you can see it, and you can catch up, and you can go and re-look at old ones. And I normally put the heading of kind of what the topic is, but we do talk about lots of things. The only rule is positivity, positive vibes only. Oh, my dress in the background. Yeah, that's a needle and thread one. Isn't that precious? Just love it. It's made of these recycled sequins, and I love it. And it's just such a happy dress that even though I don't have the occasion to wear it, I just leave it hanging there because I love it. It's like a piece of art. Anyway, let's get going because it's all about makeup today. And I've just done a little bit of prep on my face just because I didn't want to sit here completely naked. And I have used these things. So just starting off with a little bit of skincare. I know there's been lots of chat about retinols in particular, and the retinols from Beauty Pie, I use one called Super Retinol, and I use that at night. So that's my kind of bedtime one, and it's very gentle, it's very mild. You've got to be a little bit careful with retinols because they can be sensitizing, but I think for older skin in particular, they are really, really good. They're also very good actually for younger skin that's acne prone. So it's kind of all age really, but I think we get a lot of benefit as midlife women or older. And so that's what I use in the evening, the Super Retinol. They also make a very good retinol hand cream, which I also really like. And then during the day, I've been using this, which I think is probably a bit new. It's called Japan Fusion. So they buy their products from all over. They really go to the best sources of skincare. So they'll have manufacturers in Switzerland, in Italy, in Japan. And this is the Japan Fusion. It's called Genius Lift Elixir. Genius Lift Elixir. And it contains all sorts of really interesting things, polysaccharides, which are sugars that keep the skin really plump. And it's like a serum, so you just drop it. It's just like a clear liquid like this. And I'll just pop some on the back of my hand so that you can see the texture and the consistency of it. and it sinks really easily into the skin. It provides a really nice coating. It's a really nice base for makeup. And to be honest, my skin is quite dry. I'm eczema prone, so I do have to be careful with what I use. And it really means that I don't need to use a moisturiser, actually. I just use this. I really, really like it. And then my hands, they get so dry. I don't know about you, but all this hand washing and hand sanitising. So I do actually use a few extra drops on the backs of my hands. Just pop some on the backs and rub it together. You don't particularly need it on your palms, but on the backs of the hands. It's really good, and it really does plump up the skin. Yeah, lots of comments. Sarah Lou, Japan Fusion face masks are brilliant. I have sensitive skin. Yeah, really, really good. The other thing that I like from their little dropper range is this one. It's called Superdose C. Vitamin C, obviously, really good internally. I hope you've all listened to my podcast with Dr. Thomas Levy, who's that amazing American cardiologist. And he's talking all about liposomal vitamin C. And I get mine from Altriant C. It's more expensive, but it is really, really good. And we do have a 10% Liz Loves from Abundance and Health, which is where you can find that. All the Liz Loves things, by the way, are on the website, lizearlewellbeing.com. You can find it all there. Thank you, Lainey, sweetheart. You're popping up links on Facebook. That's really kind of you. So vitamin C is particularly good as a skin brightener. So it's very good for skin that looks a bit devitalized all this time that we've been, locked inside, not getting so much fresh air. As we age, our skin tends to lose elasticity and brightness. So it's something that you can add in, whatever your skincare regime, you can just add this in. The other thing that I like about vitamin C is that it can help with age spots. So I'm, kind of prone to age spots here particularly. I guess that's just sort of where the sun historically has hit my skin, but I also use it on the backs of my hands. If I just show you, it's kind of a little orangey colour. I guess that's from where it comes from, the vitamin C. But I also use it on my forearms because I do find that I get age spots as well on my forearms. So yeah, really good. So I'm going to pop some just before I move on actually onto my forearms. And the great thing about Beauty Pie is that, it's not expensive. And that's the really nice thing I like about it, because we're buying more and more things online. And, we don't want to take the risk with things that cost a lot, because if it's not right, a lot of brands, don't take things back if they've been opened or used, understandably. And I just think it's great. My girls love it. So Lily, who's 30, she's been raiding my Beauty Pie. She's now got her own membership. And Brella as well at uni, and she was just hoovering it all up at uni because obviously they're on a budget, but you still want them to have access to nice things. So, and they're also really good for presents. If you're looking for presents for girlfriends, I know when Brella or Lily, when their girlfriends have birthdays, then they'll buy them a really nice little lip gloss or an eyeliner or something from Beauty Pie, which is a lovely gift, but actually hasn't cost a fortune to do. So those are my things that I'm using here as a base. And then I thought I'd go actually away from Beauty Pie just for a moment to talk about my base, because there's been lots of chat about foundations. And again, choosing the right colour is really tricky, isn't it? When we can't go into stores and use testers and that kind of thing. And actually, even if we're in a store under artificial light, it can look a little bit different to when we're at home or when we're in normal daylight. So you may have seen my live here on a Makeup Monday with Grace, who's the founder of Studio 10. Love Studio 10 products. Again, we've got a Liz Loves, so that gives us a really nice discount. And what I like about them in particular is they are designed for older skin. So the formulations tend to be quite creamy, they're not drying. This is really neat. This is a powder, not a powder, it's a compact foundation. This one has 2 shades in it. And again, that's a really clever thing because you can mix and match. Our skin doesn't stay the same colour all year round. Hopefully we'll be out getting a little bit more sun, so we might get a little bit more colour. So having a wardrobe of different foundations is good, but it's a bit inconvenient, and again it's a bit more expensive. So this one has 2 shades in one compact. This has the numbers 1 and 2, because I'm obviously quite pale, so these are the ones that I use, but they've got a whole range of shades. So I would use this. It's like a creamy foundation, and then you can just put that, just add a little bit more on because I've got a tiny bit of base on already. So just use that where you need to, and you can work it into the skin without it drying. And then as you get a little bit darker, maybe, or maybe you want to do a little bit of contouring, gentle contouring. We're not talking Kardashian streaks. We're talking about gentle contouring or shaping, really. That's what Kerry September refers to it. She doesn't like contouring, but she likes shaping. So use the darker shade. So if you wanted to, you could mix the two together to get your exact shade, which is a really nice thing to do. This is a little bit darker. This is like a little bit more of a sunny glow, but you can also use the darker one for a bit of shaping. So I'm going to use just a little bit of the darker one there, just kind of under the cheekbones, just to give a little bit of definition without it being scary. So I just use that underneath. You can use a little bit on brow bones as well, just to highlight. These foundations I find actually are a really good base for eyeshadows. It'll help your eyeshadow to stay on longer if you put a little bit of foundation on your eyelid. Sometimes we have kind of natural oils on our eyelids, which make eyeshadows go creasy and cakey. So if you can put a nice little bit of base on your eyelid, then that's a really good tip. And also just kind of up here as well, where the sun would naturally hit the top of the face, just to bring a little bit of warmth into it, really. So that's my Studio 10 trick. So that's what I prep my face with. The other thing that I really like, which I put a link, we sadly don't have a Liz Loves, but there is a link to this. This is It Cosmetics, and it's called Bye Bye Under Eye. Lots of questions about under eye bags. This is really, really good. It's very, very concentrated, so you need a tiny little bit. Okay, so a little dot like that, just in the corner. And this is really where you need to put your concealer, because if you think about the eye socket here, this is the bit that can look really dark. So you want to bounce the light back onto the face under this eye area here. So you don't need to use very much at all, but it's also really good if you have any little pimples or areas of redness. I find it doesn't irritate my skin, so if you wanted to cover up little patches of rosacea, for example, there have been lots of questions about that as well, then this is just a really good thing. Or if you get any little kind of pimples, I've been trying various different skincare brands in the last few days, and ideas and things, and the problem is my skin is so sensitive that it can suddenly react to something and I end up with a kind of little blotchy patch. So I always keep this. This shade is it's called Light Sand number 12, so that's the one that I use, but go and have a look. We popped a little link. If you want links on Instagram, obviously we can't link directly, so apologies about that, but if you go to my bio, so where I've got my little picture in the circle, the main kind of home page of Instagram, if you click on that, there's a few lines that says a little bit about me, and then at the bottom there's something that says Linktree, and that's a little bit of blue type. And if you click on that, those of you that haven't done it, oh my goodness, you're in for a treat, because that opens up a whole world of links. And that's where my team and I, we talk about the kind of roughly the things that I'm going to talk about each day when I do my lives, and then we try and populate that with all the different links so that it's a really quick and easy way. But essentially, if all else fails, go to lizearlewellbeing.com. You'll see a little section called Liz Loves, and there's just so many things there, so many bargains, and all the links to all the active discount codes that are currently working for all of us. So that is that's my kind of my base, if you like, my essential bit. Oh, one other thing, actually, there was a question there about SPF and moisturizers. I don't use an SPF in my moisturizer, and the reason for that is that we need, if you're going out in the sun, you need more sun protection than a moisturizer is going to give you. And so I like to use my SPF separately when I'm going outside, but also makeup will give you a bit of an SPF. If you use a bit of foundation, a little bit of blusher, a little bit of powder, that's equivalent to about an SPF 15. So I think, that is pretty good, but obviously going out into the sun, I like to use an SPF separately, and I will be doing a whole thing about SPFs and moisturizers and sunscreens, hopefully as we get a little bit more sunshine and get to go outside. In the meantime, I did put a little bit about that on YouTube. So if you go to my Menopause series on YouTube, I think it was the week before last, I did a whole skincare special on menopause, and I talk there in a bit more detail about what to look for in an SPF and when to use it and all that kind of thing. So if you haven't actually checked out my YouTube channel, please do. There's Earle Wellbeing. So much on there. It is just a treasure trove. Lots of old films, lots of new films. I tend to put 2 new films a week. So subscribe to that, and then that will always come up the top of the list. And actually you can use also, they've got a little bell button. So if you like to be notified, if you like to see the first to see anything new, just press the little bell, and it means that as soon as we upload a new video, it goes ding like that. So it tells you all about it. One other little trick, and I've done this before on one of my makeup tutorials, which again you'll find on YouTube. I've got lots of makeup tutorials there. This is a Beauty Pie product. It's called One Powder Wonder. And when you open it up, it looks a bit weird because it's absolutely white. So what I do with this is I have a separate brush that I use for this one, and I just pick up a little bit of the white powder. You can use this wherever you need to just add a little bit of lightness. So again, if you've got really dark circles under your eyes, then this is a really good thing. It's also good, I find, because it keeps the area dry, and it means that your makeup doesn't tend to creep. Do you know, sometimes if you use a mascara and it can smudge down here and you end up with dark panda eyes, and you know, the last thing we want is any more darkness under the eyes, really. So using a little bit like this just underneath, and this again, it lasts for ages. And then you can use a makeup artist trick as well, which is just to use a little bit just to highlight on the nose as well if you want to. So that's something else that is worth having in your makeup repertoire. So what shall I use next? Okay, I think I might go for this. So this is again one of my favorites from Beauty Pie. It's just called One palette, and it's Cool Naturals, this particular one. And look at this, you got 6 different things in here. Look at that, isn't that great? So you've got like a frosty highlighter. I'll show you how I use that. Really nice cream blusher. This is more of like a bronzer or a shaping colour. And then you've got some lovely neutrals here, which again, I'll use on my eyes today. So I am going to do, first of all, tell you what I might do, just because I'm sat here doing some makeup, is I might use one of my lovely Annie Reid headbands. Have you seen those yet? So Sanson & Reid, lovely female founder, small company. She doesn't advertise. She does a lot on Instagram, and she has these really lovely headbands. I always think they look like Hermes scarves. I just feel so chic instantly when I put one of these on. And you can do them either, you know, you can wear it as an accessory, or of course really handy if you're doing your makeup and just want to have one in your bedroom and keep your hair off your face. So that one I thought was rather nice. I've got another favourite one here actually, which I was torn between the two. This one looks like a vintage ribbon. Isn't that lovely? And they're not expensive. I think they start at about £12, and we get Liz Loves. So she gives us 10% on all her accessories. So belts and headbands, that kind of thing. Check them out. So I've got my headband on, and let me get back to my palette. So I think what I'll do is, let me find a blusher brush, is I'm going to start maybe just with this contoury powder here. And again, if you kind of suck your cheek like that, that's where you need to put it, just to give you a little bit of shape. I'm going to do that either side. And then because I haven't got a particularly good jaw, a bit jowly under here, so I like to add just a little bit of contouring just under here, or a little bit of shaping, just to kind of define that. It's really good if you're having your picture taken or you're doing lots of Zoom chats and you want to just get a little bit of jaw definition going on. Then I'm going to use the pinky one, and the pinky one you need to put just where the apples of your cheek is, just this little bit here. So I've always had quite a fat face, fat round face, cheeky apples here. And of course, as we age, that's good, because, you know, this means that we've got a little bit more plumped upness. It's the one area of the body, isn't it, where you actually want to be a bit plumper, is here. So just give a little smile, and then just where it's plumped up, that's where you apply the pinkness. And if you want to, you can just take that up into the temples as well, just to give you a little bit of extra colour. And then the highlighter, which is this sort of slightly frosty one. Be careful with frosted ones because you can look, you know, like a fairy on top of the Christmas tree if we're not careful. And glitter tends to accentuate wrinkles and creases. So not too much glitter, but just a little bit. Just here, that's where I use it. Just, can you see, just where it's kind of like hit the light. Again, it's all about getting a little bit of light and definition on the face. And then I'll use that also just on the upper bits of my eyelids. Obviously, when we're going out soon, or if we've got, you know, evening events, then you might want to use a little bit more of that because it just gives the face a bit of a gleam. So I'm going to use these colours as well, I think. So this is quite a nice whitey colour. It's not too white when it's actually on the skin. And what's good about using that all over the eyelid is that it just evens out your skin tone. So if you've got dark colours, if you've got shadows, if you've got redness on your eyelids, what you want to do before you actually put any colour on, you just want to even it out. It's a bit like an artist, I guess, prepping a canvas. So I just really like the look of that. It just sort of brings lightness into the eyes. It just kind of makes the eyes look wider and a bit more open, a bit less hooded. I know there have been some questions about what I do for hooded eyes. So again, this is a really good way of just kind of lightening that without being too scary. And then I often mix colours together, so don't be afraid of doing that. You know, you can pick up a little bit of the grey here and mix it with a little bit of the brown. So it's quite natural, so I'll often kind of dot between the two. Always give a little blow on your brush just to take off any excess powder, otherwise you find that it can trickle down on the rest of your face. And then I find the most successful way to put my eyeshadow on is just almost to hold the brush and just kind of press it into the eyelid, just to really get it in there. And then a little trick that I learned from Ruby Hammer, if you watched her makeup tutorial with me a little while ago, is if you do have hooded eyes, is just take it that little bit higher. So you just want to bring it above the crease of the eye, so that you just, again, it just sort of can help disguise that hoodedness. So again, I'm just going to pick up a little bit of the grey or the brown, give it a little tap or a little blow, and just push it into the eyelid, and then work that across. Again, maybe taking it a little bit higher to help with those hooded eyes. And it's just giving a little bit of definition, a little bit of shape. And in the evening, if you wanted to, then you could really rev it up a bit. You know, you could go back over it and really enhance it a little bit more with a bit more drama. And then I'm going to use something underneath. Actually, talking about Ruby Hammer, did you see her talk about these? These are really fun. These are some of her makeup tools. And what I like about them is they're magnetic. So they're really clean so that you don't keep the brushes exposed to the air because they've got their own little lids. This is a really neat little one. It's a little spiral that you can do for your eyebrows to brush those up. And again, that's a really good trick to brighten the eyes and to lift the face, is if you just comb your eyebrows up. Anybody else dyeing their eyebrows? Love a bit of eyebrow dye. Just gives definition to the face. I use men's moustache dye. I think it's just called For Men. You can find it in chemists. And it's moustache dye, so it's designed for the face. It's obviously designed to dye the hair on the face. You don't want to dye your moustache, obviously. You want to get rid of that, but you might want to dye your eyebrows. And especially as we get older, because our eyebrows get grey, just like, you know, the hair on our head. And so therefore they look a bit sparser. And it's amazing, if you dye your eyebrows, then suddenly it looks as if you've got really sort of thick, younger looking eyebrows again. So just comb those up. And in fact, what I do is I then use, this is a really good one from Ruby. We also have Liz Loves, by the way, on Ruby Hammer as well. So again, go and check her out. I think she's rubyhammer.com, just Liz Loves, all in capitals. I think it gets you 10% off. But this is a really nice shape brush from her. This is quite a fine chisel shape, do you see? And what's really nice about this, you can use it as an eyeliner. I know there have been lots of questions about how to use an eyeliner, so I'll show you what I do. But you can also use it to fill in eyebrows. And again, you don't need anything really fancy. I tend to use just a bit of eyeshadow and then just fill in, you know, particularly if your eyebrows are a little bit sparse here, then, you know, maybe you were over plucking in your youth and they haven't grown back. You know, it's a very good way. You can just sort of feather it in. And I find that the shadows are actually a little bit softer than pencils, a little bit more natural looking. And then my eyebrows are quite short. They kind of stop here, and I want to get a little bit more of a sophisticated elongation of the eye. So I will use that just to give me a little bit more of a tail, really, on my eyebrows. So obviously I don't necessarily sit here and do this every day, but if I'm looking for a bit more polish in my look, then that's what I will do. So that's that. And the other thing actually that's quite nice to use this little brush for, as I said before, was eyeliner. Now there's lots of different ways that you can do eyeliner. One of the things that I also like from Beauty Pie is this clever little thing. It's like a stick. So this one's called Goldie. And if you look at it, it's like a crayon. It's like one of those sort of really nice fat chubby crayons, really soft. So you see that, really soft, doesn't drag. I think if you're using anything on the eyes, you don't want old-fashioned type makeup crayons that pull on the eyes. And again, you can use that just close to the lash line. You can just flick that on. This is really nice because it's got a tiny bit of shimmer in it. Do you see? You can see that. Really, really pretty. And again, what's nice about the little crayon is that it's quite easy to use. Doesn't spill. It's really good for traveling when we're allowed to travel. You can take this with you. And again, you could do a little bit underneath. I don't like to do too much, but just a little bit of something. Just again to make your eyes a little bit bigger. You see, that's almost, I've done almost nothing. It's super, super light. The other reason I like these is that they are long lasting. So I find that, you know, if I've done this in the morning, I'll still have it on later in the day. It doesn't tend to wear off, and they're propelling. So that, and again, they've got a nice lid, so it's nice and clean. It's all about hygiene. The other thing that I like to use, again, this is a Beauty Pie. This is one of their gel eyeliners. Gel eyeliner is a game changer in terms of eyeliner. Okay, so this looks like a pencil. So I've just sharpened this. Really important if you are using eye pencils around the eye to keep it well sharpened, because that way every time you sharpen it you get a fresh new bit of colour, so it's really clean. But again, it's very soft. So again, can you see on that? Really, really soft. Again, it's not dragging and it just stays put. You know, when you put it on, it stays put. So a couple of ways to use this. If you are new to eyeliner, it can be a bit scary to use. And what I find is if you close one eye and you do almost like little dots along the eye, little dots, you don't have to be quite precise. You can just sort of dot it on and then just take it a little bit out. I mean, if you want a big flicky thing, you can, but I think I'm possibly a bit old for a big flicky thing, but anyway. But then what I like to do with this little brush, the little ruby hammer brush, is then take that and then use that just to literally join the dots. Really, really gentle, and again, very precise. And you can also just add a little bit here, just again, super gentle, just getting that little bit of definition going on the inner eye. So I might just do my other side, just so I look balanced. And then I'll show you the other little trick that I do to open up the eyes using this. So again, I've done my dots and I'm just going to join them super gently, a little bit there as well. There you go. And of course with this little brush you could do your flick as well if you wanted to, and you could go under the eye as well. You could just run that along. I tend not to use mascara on my lower lashes just because I find it can creep, and I just find that the upper lashes are enough for me. Maybe in the evenings, or if I'm having my picture taken or something, I might put some on my lower lashes, but I tend just to open up the eyes with upper lashes only. And then something else you can do, you don't have to do all of this, by the way, you can just take little bits of it, that I'm obviously loading it all on now because I've only got me to show you, is I go inside just close to the lash line. So I'm actually using this just up on the inner lashes. Really, really gentle. Now, obviously, all these products are ophthalmologically tested, so they're safe and very gentle. And again, keeping it really nicely, newly sharpened. It's not sharp because it's very gentle, but, you know, again, keeping it really clean. You need quite a steady hand. So I'm actually, I don't know, you probably can't see on Facebook, but I'm actually resting my elbow on my dressing table like this to keep it really steady. And then you can just go in there as well. A lot of people actually, as they get older, find they have real problems with dry eyes. And again, that is due to, guess what? Low estrogen. Because we have estrogen receptors in our eyes, in all our membranes. So as we lose estrogen, everything gets drier, and our eyes included. So the good old HRT, again, can be really helpful during perimenopause and menopause and postmenopause, just to help with keeping the eyes a bit more comfortable as well. I'm going to leave it there, but you can use that, you know, you can really sharpen that, and then just get a nice look. How's it looking? Is it looking all right? It's a bit hard for me to tell. Hope it's looking good. So that's pretty much my eyes. Now, mascara, obviously, some days I'll just wear mascara. You know, that is like the only thing. Shows how good this is, actually. Look, I've been trying to get it off with the tissue. It doesn't budge. I need some cleanser to take that off, I think. I'll wash my hands later. But that's a good sign, because you don't want it to wear off during the day. So I've been using a new mascara from Beauty Pie, which I really like, and I think you might like this one too. It's the Uber Volume Boost Velvet Mascara. And what I particularly like about this one is this colour is brownie. Now, I normally will use a black mascara because I just want that extra definition. But sometimes it can look a bit obvious, you know, particularly during the day if we've just got kind of a natural look. We don't want to look too made up. So what I like about this is it's a really dark, really deliciously dark chocolatey brown colour. And the thing to do with this is to pick up the colour. Never pump your mascara wand, okay? I see sometimes people do this. Don't do that, because what that does is it dries out your mascara. You're bringing air into the mascara to dry it out. So literally just take that out. I take a little bit off the end in case there's anything globby left there. And then what you want to do is you want to joggle, okay? So you joggle your mascara wand into the base of your lashes to start with. So you joggle it in and then pull it out. So joggle and pull. And as you pull, you want to curl upwards. Okay, so I'm curling the mascara wand to coat the lashes and then to also help the lashes to stay up. Now you can, of course, use an eyelash curler. I'm a little bit scared of those metal curlers. I once pulled all my eyelashes out with a metal curler, so I'm got to be a bit brave. Sometimes I'll do it. I know if I'm doing a photo shoot with Kerry September, she'll ask me to curl my eyelashes and it'll be like, oh, Kerry, really? And I find that actually this technique, if you've got a good brush and a good technique, actually you don't need to use an eyelash curler. I've been on shoots sometimes where makeup artists have heated the eyelash curler with a hairdryer. It's like a pair of curling tongs, hot hair tongs for the eyes. Oh my goodness. No. I mean, try it if you want to, but I think you can run the risk of burning your eyelids. So I don't recommend it. There we go. So yeah, I think you can see the difference, can't you, between the two eyes. And this seems to be quite buildable as well. I was using this at the weekend. It was my youngest birthday yesterday. Did you see my cake? It was so funny. I was making a salad on one side, so I had all these lovely greens and watercress and all that kind of healthy stuff, and then the other side, huge piles of chocolate. Because of course he wanted a really chocolatey cake, so I made, it was a Martha Collinson recipe. She's a real sweetie, Martha. She's got a great book called Crave. think she was a Great British Bake Off winner or finalist. I think she was the youngest ever finalist, I think. And anyway, her baking book is great, and she has a death by chocolate recipe. I did a podcast with her years ago. I think it was shortly after she was in the finals. So if you want to listen, she's great. She's a real kind of social justice warrior, really inspiring young woman, and she uses bakery to teach disadvantaged women and kind of use as almost therapy. It's really, really good what she does. So it was nice to be able to use one of her recipes, because I'm not a massive baker, obviously, because of all the sugar, so it's, for me, a chocolate cake is definitely like a birthday treat. And I just felt so sad for him. We did everything on Zoom. We managed to Zoom in the family, grandparents and everybody, but it's his second lockdown birthday. He had to cancel his birthday party, this time last year, because we'd just gone into lockdown. And we said, oh, don't worry, sweetheart, next year we'll have the biggest party to make up. We'll do something really special. And of course we didn't. But anyway, we will. So we will. So that, I think, that is my eye look. I feel quite glam for a Monday morning, Monday lunchtime. So that, so Uber Volume Boost, the Velvet Mascara. There you go. Which cleansers, Nikki? Well, I still use Cleanse and Polish. I'm sure I don't have any connection to the beauty company now, but Cleanse and Polish was the very first beauty product I ever created. Absolute, world-class bestseller. Still wins awards, which still gives me a little bit of a thrill when I see that. So yeah, that's what I use, So yeah, happy days. Now the last thing, of course, for a face is lips. And a couple of things that I like, again from Beauty Pie. They've just brought out these. This is quite a neat little box. I love their packaging. I'm a sucker for good packaging. And this is lovely because you get 3 of their, they're kind of little pencils really, but creamy pencils in a little box here with a mirror. Ooh, see my ring light there? Can see yourself. Did you see my Instagram live? Was it this time last week? When I was doing it with Lily and we were talking about ring lights and all of that. So yeah, get yourself some good lighting. That's also really helpful. So these are very nice indeed. These are matte. What colour is this one? This one is, what's it called? Can't see. Teeny weeny writing. It looks like, does that say Twilight? I can't see it now. Maybe it says on the box. No, it doesn't. Anyway, you've got 3 of them in here. And this is quite good because it's creamy again. Do you see that kind of creamy texture? There are lots of questions about what to do for thin, crepey lips. So I do a couple of things. I like to use my serum all over my lips as well. So if I'm using this one, which was the Japan Fusion, the Genius Lift Serum, that goes everywhere. So it really helps to plump and smooth, especially the fine lines that we get up here. And then you want to go kind of just on the outer edge of your lip. And that's also a really nice way to use a pencil because you can control it a bit more than you can with a lipstick. You can give yourself a little bit more of a Cupid's bow if you want to. You can just flick it up a wee bit. Just to give that impression of slightly fuller lips. I'm not actually a big lip person. I tend to be really neutral or nude, so it always looks a bit scary when I start putting lipstick on. But again, really soft. And they just have a really nice cream finish. It feels really comfortable. And yeah, just a nice kind of natural done look without looking too overdone. So that's this one, which is kind of my kind of colour, I would say, that pinky one. We've got also in this little box, we've got one that's a little bit more neutral. This is a softer, almost sort of babyish pink, really pretty for spring and summer. And then this one, which is a darker, more robust colour, which would look quite nice in the evening, I think, or if you want a more dramatic lip. Some people can get away with a really dramatic lip. I'm not sure that I can. But look at that. That's fabulous, isn't it? Or again, of course, you can mix them together. Don't think that you've just got to use one or the other. You know, you can mix them. That is quite a punchy look. Not sure that I like myself in strong lipsticks. What do you think? I've only ever done one magazine cover, I think, with a strong lip. I think it was Christmas a few years ago. And I just felt that the lipstick was wearing me. I wasn't wearing it. Do you know what I mean? It was just... Anyway, I'm going to take this down a little bit. That's the great thing about lipsticks, is that you can always blot and then just be left with a bit of a lip stain, which will last a lot longer. You know, this will last through, you know, lots of munching of apples and drinking of tea and all those things. And then what I do is I love Dr. Lip. This is one of my essentials. I've always have. Do you think pale suits me better? Yeah. So I will use a little bit of the pure lanolin Dr. Lip just to give a little bit of a natural gloss. And I also find that, again, it helps to soften and smooth. Lips feel really comfortable. They don't get dry or cracked or flaky. And again, we have the Liz Loves. I did the Liz Live with Pontine, who is the founder of Dr. Lip. Really interesting. I hope you caught that. That was a Makeup Monday a couple of weeks ago now, I think. And she's given us, I think it might be a 10 or 15% Liz Loves on Dr. Lip. I always forget we've got so many discount codes running at the moment. Let me just check on Dr. Lip and how you can find that. So Dr. Lip, 15%. Great. Yeah, drlip.com. I also mentioned earlier Studio 10. So Studio 10 is, wow, 20% off. Okay, so that was my little foundation palette here, 20% off with Liz Loves. That's on the single items. So that's not their sets, because they already discount those, so that wouldn't really be fair. But if you just want the single items from Studio 10, then use your Liz Loves, because that's a really healthy discount, isn't it? 20%. And then, yeah, Beauty Pie. So Beauty Pie works in a totally different way. So you join and you can sign up for 3 months, or you can sign up for a year. However, I mean, I've been a member for years, actually. I renew mine every year. And then if you just put Liz Loves as your code, they just discount and knock off the first month. So it's kind of a no-brainer, really. I just think that almost every woman should be a member of Beauty Pie, because the savings are so good. And you can just try lots of lovely things. And it's, yeah, I just really think it's one of those kind of disruptor brands. You know, you get disruptor brands that come in, like when Uber started for the first time, or, you know, Deliveroo, or all these sort of different brands that were doing things in a very different way. And Marcia started with Beauty Pie, and I mean, she's nailed it as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, and Sanson Reed. Okay, so Sanson Reed, sansonreed.com. And that's 10% off all their lovely accessories, like this one. Actually, this goes really well with my top, doesn't it? So, yeah, this top is Carol McEwen. So, again, she's only on Instagram, and she doesn't even have a website. She's tiny, but she makes everything in London, and it's all ethical, and I just love her things. And I think she's really clever. If you look at her Instagram, she's a bit of a hippie chick. And I don't know, there's something about her. She's got great taste. And anyway, but you have to be on her mailing list, so follow her on Instagram. And yeah, I think they send abroad. Yeah, Beauty Pie. I'm pretty sure everybody will send abroad. Maybe tricky at the moment with EU. I know we had some issues on our website that we can't send certain things at the moment because they haven't quite worked out the VAT, so that might be a little bit. So yes, here we get another question here. So yeah, well spotted. This is my Neroli pendant that I was wearing. So yeah, this is the one that's on offer at the moment for Liz Earle Jewellery. 25% off with Neroli is your code in capitals. And actually, talking about Neroli, this I discovered in the back of my drawer the other day. Where is it? Here we go. True Grace. Do you remember True Grace? Another lovely British female founder brand. Amazing candles. I did a whole candle making kit with them. Lovely, lovely things. And they're based not far from me, actually, down in the West Country. And this is their Neroli hand cream. You can see how I've been using it. It's a real genuine favourite. The smell is divine. I love Neroli. Actually, neroli necklace was my first design, actually. It's a bit of a classic, real symbol. And it's a symbol of love and fertility and femininity. And this is the neroli hand cream. If you're using hand cream, by the way, always put it on the backs of your hands first. Don't waste it on your palms. You don't need it on the palms. You need it on the backs. So do it on the backs first, and then you can, rub in any excess on your palms or around your nails. But the smell, oh, that neroli is heavenly. Love it, love it, love it. I'm fairly sure we still have a Liz Loves with True Grace. I hope so. Fingers crossed. Are they on my list? Let me have a look. Yes, 10% off. truegrace.co.uk if you want to try that hand cream and any of their candles. They are lovely. They're all completely natural. They've got natural wicks. I mean, the whole thing they're special. Oh, look. Clean my hand with that hand cream. That looks much better, doesn't it? So, I wish you could smell it. It's really very, very good. So what is it okay to heat olive oil? There was a question. Okay, let's go off on a tangent now, shall we? Yes, I hope you heard me with Dr. Simon Poole. That was on Friday. So interesting talking to him about all the benefits of olive oil. And he's a GP. He's a working GP in Cambridge. Wouldn't it be amazing to have him as your GP? Because he is just pointing all his patients in the direction of olive oil for so many anti-inflammatory disorders, when talking about treatment and help for diabetes and coronary heart disease and all these things. And he was pointing out that the smoke point for olive oil is very high, so it's very safe to heat with. And also it's full of polyphenols, which is why we have to use extra virgin olive oil, that lovely dark greeny colour, because the polyphenols are the things that protect the oil and give it the anti-inflammatory properties. So many reasons. And I just thought his comment was really good, because I did say to him, that's all very well, but it's expensive, isn't it? Extra virgin olive oil is an expensive oil. And he said, yeah, but it's, it's the same price as a bottle of wine. And, a bottle of wine is not going to last you as long as olive oil. And when you think about it in those terms, to get really good quality olive oil that we can cook with. So I've just been using it on everything. You've probably seen on my Instagram, I've been a bit more lavish with my extra virgin olive oil. And thank you very much to the governor, by the way, for a discount. That's a really premium one. If you're looking maybe to gift somebody some olive oil, that is definitely the one to do. Talking about gifts, yes, we have a free gift still going for the magazine. This is a new one, actually. So if you are yet subscribed, that's the current issue for Earle Wellbeing. We're bi-monthly, so you get 6 issues a year. And there is a really lovely offer that's just gone live with another great British brand called Olverum, who do really lovely bath oils and amazing scents, really sort of herby, uplifting, really good for spring. And they have a beautiful glass. It's a really premium sleep spray that you can spray on your pillow. Normally it costs £25. So it's really beautiful. It's in a beautiful box. And you can get one free with any new subscription to Earle Wellbeing. So if you've yet to subscribe, or maybe you'd like to give it as a gift to somebody to cheer them up, then you can either have the gift sent to you, if you want to keep the gift and have it free, or if you want to send it with the magazine, then you can do either. So there's a little comment box when you go to subscribe, and if you can just put in there if you want the gift sent to you and pop your address in, then they'll send it to you. And if you want to give it with the magazine, then it goes. It doesn't go with the magazine, by the way, it goes separately, because it's direct debit, so they've got to set that up. And then as soon as Warners know that the direct debit's set up, then the gift gets sent. So anyway, I don't think we've got that many of those. So if you want to grab that, then do go and take a look. That is all on the website. Other free gifts, of course. I've been very busy this weekend signing my yearbooks. So lots of lovely comments about that. So yeah, I have these here at the farm and I sign them all. And you get, at the moment, with any book from my website, you get your free little pack of note cards. Sorry, not note cards, notebooks. And if I just undo this, you'll see the 3 of them. So handy. They're like little neat books. This one says, Live, Love, Laugh, Earle Wellbeing. And this one is, I think, possibly my favourite. That's the one with the rose on the front. It just says, and breathe. Do I look at this? I've got this one downstairs in the kitchen. I've got my shopping list on it. And I look at it and I go, oh yes, breathe. Mustn't forget to breathe. And this one, good message. Positive vibes only. Only write positive things. So I tend to have this one by my bed. And this is where I write my 3 things that I'm grateful for at night. or I write a little mantra for the day. So anyway, so these, you can buy these separately if you want. They've just gone live on the website. They're £7.50 for a pack of 3, or you get them free with any signed book, while stocks last, obviously. So back to questions. Oh gosh, lots of chat again on HRT. Yes, so HRT, the estrogen is really good for the skin. Obviously, you know, it's just been so fascinating actually to do the research into that and to hear more about all the estrogen receptors in the skin. And obviously the main benefits of HRT are relieving symptoms of perimenopause and menopause, but also the health benefits, so protecting us against heart disease, osteoporosis, type 2 diabetes, redistributing fat, so taking it away from the middle. I mean, you know it all, or if you don't, go and have a look at my YouTube videos on that. But one of the beneficial side effects is the way that it fills up the estrogen receptors in the skin. So it's just like internal moisturizer, because the way it works is it helps support the collagen and the elastin fibers that just give the skin that youthful spring and glow. So chat here about Estrogel. This is from Andrea on Instagram. Hi there. I'd like to know, first of all, we got 2 questions here. I'd like to know how to pick the right colour foundation when buying it online. Well, I hope I've answered that question. A lot of the websites now do have really clear tutorials and really clear imagery. Just make sure if you're looking at it on your phone that you haven't got one of those filters on your phone that block the blue light, because that will change the colour on the screen. You know, if you're looking at it on a laptop maybe or a computer, that's the best thing. And you can adjust your screen displays to be in like true colour, because then you get a really good idea of what the colour looks like. But something like this from Studio 10, you get 2 shades, which I think is really good, because you can then mix and match. You can make it, adapt it to your perfect shade. And as our skin changes during the year, you don't have to go out and buy a whole new set of foundation. You can actually just use more of the slightly darker tone. So I'm looking forward to being a bit browner as we go into the summer and hopefully get outside some more. But you've also said, Andrea, thank you for your passion about the menopause. I went to my GP armed with all the facts, as I'd been taken off HRT several years ago because of family history of breast cancer. I'm now on Estrogel. I'm already feeling better. Isn't that great? So much information online. Earle Wellbeing, there's a whole section on menopause, and of course menopausedoctor.co.uk. She is all hail, you know, she is the medical expert on all of that. And so interesting that with the gels and the patches, so that's the estrogen that goes through the skin, if you're using that on its own, then it actually lowers your risk of breast cancer. They've shown that it lowers it by 25%. So there's so much misinformation and wrong information still with our GPs. So anyway, hopefully that will change. If you want more information on that, then do get my download. It's called The Truth About HRT. But again, lots and lots on YouTube. I've just finished, I think it was 5 or 6 whole little films about that. So I hope that's really helpful. But actually talking about estrogen and Estrogel, Andrea, you mentioned Estrogel, so this is maybe the one that you have. But just be sure if you've got this, and I've done this before, but just be sure that you've got Estrogel and not Estradose. Do you see? So Estradose here, I have actually, this was prescribed to me. So I have got my label on here, and if I peel it away, it says Estrogel on the label here, Estrogel. Peel it away, and what do we discover underneath? It's not Estrogel, it's Estradose. And they still don't know why it's different. It's made by the same company, it's made in the same factory. It's stored potentially differently, and that may have something to do with it. And I know, as somebody who's been involved with, obviously in my previous life, you know, making gels and involved in packaging and storage and all of that, that there are differences. So the Estradose tends to have that little swirl. And the problem is that many, many women are reporting that it just doesn't work. We don't know why. There's an amazing GP who first uncovered this, called Dr. Zoe Hodson. She's on Instagram. She's the Menopause Hive, Manchester Menopause Hive. and it's ongoing. There's a feature on menopausedoctor.co.uk about how to talk to your GP about that. But what I do now, even now when I get my Estrogel, is, and I say this to all my girlfriends, is I just peel off the front sticker just to make sure there's nothing underneath. And if you want to do that in your pharmacy, because you can only return a medication if you've opened it in front of the pharmacist, obviously, because otherwise you could tamper with it and it wouldn't be safe. So they may think you're mad, but I know people, and it even comes in an Estrogel box. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it? Open it up, literally on each one, take the label off just to check. Now, you may be absolutely fine with it, but too many women have not been fine with it. Okay, so it's just such a struggle, isn't it? Honestly, we struggle to get this information. We struggle to go to our GPs. We struggle to get help so often. Some GPs are great, but too many aren't. And then when we finally do get it, it doesn't work. And we think, well, that wasn't for us. And it's actually because we've got Estrogel, which is a parallel import. Anyway, there's lots online about it. Go to Earle Wellbeing. You'll see there's a whole feature that we did just to try and educate about this, and also on menopausedoctor.co.uk. So hopefully it will resolve itself, but I can't see it happening anytime soon, to be honest. Lots of people, you're saying that you've reported it to the MHRA. That's exactly the right thing to do. So if you do have Estrogel and you found that it hasn't worked, you can download an app from the MHRA, which is the Medicines Regulatory Authority, and it's called the Yellow Card app. And you just fill it in, and you basically say the batch number, you say your symptoms, and then you report it as obviously not being effective or whatever it is. I'm not putting words into your mouth. You just say whatever issue you've had, and then hopefully we'd like to think something would happen, but we're kind of still waiting. We're a good 6 months on, and nothing's happened yet. So I'm not holding my breath anymore for that, but I think we just need to spread the word and let your girlfriends know that if they are on Estrogel, just to make sure it is Estrogel, okay? I know. Well, it can be legal because it's a parallel import. So what manufacturers do is you manufacture a medicine and then they find a way of doing it more cheaply or shipping it more cheaply. I'm not quite sure how, but it's called a parallel import. So it's supposed to be the same thing. I guess it's a bit like, Nurofen and ibuprofen are the same thing. They come from the same factory. One is a branded product, the other one is not branded, and it's much cheaper. So a lot of pharmacists and chemists will stock the cheaper version. And in that case, it's Estrogel. It's a parallel import. It should be the same. It's made in the same factory. It contains the same ingredients. They'll tell you it's exactly the same. But many women report that it's not. So the thing to do is to say to your GP, can you please write on the prescription, it's got to be Estrogel, actually specify it, and say no parallel import, no PI. So that can sometimes help. Some pharmacists are better than others. Some pharmacists know all about it. Some just think you're mad. They'll say to you there's no difference, and you may have to go and argue the toss. It can help to maybe print out that information, particularly from Menopause Doctor, because she's a proper doctor. Don't just take it from me. I'm just a researcher and a writer. She's the doctor, and she's written about it, and she speaks the language of medics. So it's something that you can, drop into your doctor's surgery, for example, if you've had issues, or if your local pharmacist only has Estrogel. There are lots of online pharmacies, by the way, that you can use that do have real Estrogel. So hopefully this is a message that's getting out there. Thank you very much, Nikki. There's lots that you can do, but it's about sharing this information, isn't it? It's really, I always say knowledge is power. Let's just get the word out there. Another word that is spreading far and wide is about the amazing Mascara berry. Oh my goodness. Do you remember talking to Dr. Evie? Wasn't she lovely? I think, was she in Tel Aviv when we spoke? She was training other doctors. So she's a hospital consultant, and she has developed this powder, very colour coordinated today, which I absolutely love, the Mascara berry. And I hope to do another live actually with Dr. Evie because she was so fascinating. And she has made these powders, and we got a Liz Loves, which is really nice, and they're full of anthocyanins, and anthocyanins are the purple pigment in berries, so they're one of the reasons why blueberries, for example, are so good for us. And these have more anthocyanins than any other berry. And that's because they are double purple. So not only do these little berries here have purple skins, but they're also purple on the inside. And they taste delicious. So I have my powder now, and I sprinkle it into yogurt. I put it into my granola. I make smoothies with it. And I have also taken to drinking Hascat berry. So this is made with hot water. It's actually slightly lukewarm now because I've been talking for too long. But it is the most delicious drink. It's like, I guess, like a healthy Ribena because it's not full of sugar. And it's just topping up the anthocyanins. So really good for skin. Lots of antioxidant activity. She talks a lot. Dr. Evie talks about all the medical benefits. And again, you know, she's medically trained. So she knows what she's talking about. It's evidence-based. So look them up. Lots of lovely information and videos and things on their website about where they grow them. I think she was in Canada. And just lovely about how she came to discover the Hascat berry. Small family business, you know, female founder. And we do have our Liz Love still with her, and you can buy these packets either separately, or I buy mine in batches of 3. You get an offer with a triple pack, and then you can use the discount on top. So it's triple the value, yeah, with the packs, double the discount, which is good. And I can give you that information on Hascapa. She's also on Instagram. She's got a really nice Instagram feed. I'm sure she's on Facebook too. So where is Hascap, where you are. Oh, 20% off. Marvellous. So Hascapa, yeah. So Liz Loves 20%, and that's hascapa.com. Yeah, isn't it delicious? Yeah. Have you been scribbling so much info, Sally Ann? I hope you've got your notepads. That's partly why I did it. I think somebody said to me ages ago, I always have to watch your IGTV lives and Facebook lives with a notepad and pen because there's always so much. And it just made me think, oh, notepads, that would be good. So yeah, that's how we did it. So yeah, the Olverum Sleep Pillow Mist. Yeah, that's what you get at the moment with the magazine subscription. People asking about that. So it's £25 of value. So it means that the magazine subscription is almost free. So, you know, if you haven't yet subscribed, we don't have that many of them, but it's a really, really good gift. Or you could keep it for yourself. You could gift it to somebody else. You know, share the love. Spread the love, that's what I say. Could you do a piece on osteoporosis? Yes, absolutely. I am an ambassador for the Royal Osteoporosis Society. So yeah, definitely. Osteoporosis, obviously, we've talked a lot about that in the past, about having lots of calcium, vitamin D, really important, good old vitamin D. I hope everyone's got their Better You sprays. So yeah, vitamin D, really important for bone health. And of course, HRT. You know, if you read the NICE guidelines for menopause, one of the key reasons for prescribing HRT is for help with osteoporosis or osteopenia, which is when we start to lose the density from our bones. So really, really important. Osteoporosis is such a big killer, and it's such a debilitating disease. It's so painful. And, you know, it's heartbreaking, isn't it? You see old ladies, you know, really stooped and hunched and in such pain. And if we can protect and strengthen our bones, again, we have those estrogen receptors all over our body and our brain, which is why our brain goes a bit crazy when we lose estrogen. And in our bones, that's why we lose our bone density, or one of the reasons. So, yeah, so estrogen, again, really important. So, yes, I will be talking about osteoporosis on YouTube particularly. Gosh, so many questions here. Interesting. This is from Olive on Facebook. Hi there, Olive. You say, I've just been prescribed HRT for the first time by my GP today. I'm 46 and she thinks I've been in perimenopause for a few years. Yeah, I mean, it's quite likely. Our estrogen tends to decline from sort of early, mid-40s onwards. I have osteopenia already, so I'm super worried about my bones. Do you recommend the patches, or would a gel version be better? Really good question. So the estradiol 17, which is your body identical estrogen, is the same whether it's in patches or gel. It's the same. Okay, so it's transdermal, goes through the skin, You can use it if you have migraine or you've had issues with blood clots or DVT or high blood pressure. It bypasses the liver, so there's no clotting factors involved with the liver. And it's the way to go, in my opinion. I think the body identical gels and patches, and there's a spray as well that you can get, are the way to go. The reason why I prefer the gel is because you can adjust the dose. So, the recommended dose, I think, to start with is 2 pumps. I actually use between 5 and 6. Maybe I'm not absorbing it very well. I don't know. We're all individuals. So my GP says absolutely fine for me to use 6 pumps. And I've, again, recorded podcasts on that. So I like the gel because I find I can adjust it. I also find that for me, my main issue is sleep. As you know, I'm a sleep fanatic. And if I don't get my sleep, then the world is not a good place. So one of the ways that I make sure that I get my sleep is I use all my gel at night. So it's the last thing I do. I'm brushing my teeth, I'm using my lovely LED face mask, I'm doing all my bedtime rituals, I'm taking my magnesium, I'm using my slumber drops, all of that going on. And my estrogen gel, I use all of it, 5 or 6 pumps, over hips and thighs every night, and I sleep right the way through. And I wasn't sleeping all the way through before I started using my gel. Obviously, if you're using a patch, you're using it continuously because you stick it on and it's there for however long you have your patch on. Some women prefer to use the gel night and morning, and it depends, I think, on your symptoms. Talking to various doctors about this, it seems to be that if you're using estrogen to even out mood, a lot of women are using it for anxiety and for low mood, depression, and that's something that you need to even out during the day. So, to use 1 or 2 of your pumps in the morning and then again in the evening can be really helpful because it keeps those estrogen levels stable and it keeps your estrogen receptors in your brain topped up. That's, for me, thankfully, that's not my issue. My issue is sleep. So that's why I make sure that I load mine on at night. So, I think there's no right or wrong way. We're all individual. We all need to find how best to use it. The only thing I would say, Olive, watch, okay? If you've got your estrogel, peel off your label. It's funny, I went into a deli that was run by a friend of mine not that long ago to get a takeaway cup of coffee. And she came out with her estrogel. And she said, Liz, I just want to make sure it's the right one because I've been watching you, I've been listening to you. How do I know that it's not estradiol? And I literally stood there in the deli and I went, right, this is what you do. And it was fine. It was completely clean underneath. But you can find that little round symbol, it'll look like this, that means it's estradiol. So, and I'm not saying that estradiol isn't going to work for everybody. It might do. But I've heard of hundreds of women who say it doesn't work, and they've reported it as not working, but the MHRA, in their wisdom, have yet to do anything about it. So anyway, watch this space. That is one of my ongoing soapbox sagas. Yes, you can get it. You're paying. Okay, so Tanya on Instagram is saying that she's paying for her HRT. You can get it on the NHS. Okay, the NHS has this. And in my guide to The Truth About HRT, it tells you what the cost is. And it's pennies. Okay, it's, don't be put off. Some formularies in different counties will say, oh no, the computer says you can't have that. You say, well, why not? It's an Utrogestan, which is the micronized progesterone. It's so safe and it's so cheap for the NHS when you compare it to the treatment of osteoporosis and the prescribing of antidepressants and treating coronary heart disease, and we know that it cuts our rate of colon cancer by 1/3. And oh my goodness, I'm not going to go off on one, I promise you, but seriously, it just makes me really mad. Please don't go to any profiteering bioidentical compounding clinic that they charge hundreds of pounds for these unmarked packages of goodness knows what that you're getting of unregulated hormones. I do not advocate that at all. The British Menopause Society, the International Menopause Society, when you look them up online, they are very firm about it. They say these are potentially unsafe. We don't know that they give enough uterine protection against uterine cancer with the progesterone. So it's really, really important. Please do your research. Health is so important. And, I just want everybody, all the sisterhood, all womankind to have a better second half. And, we need hormones. I'm sorry, but we run on hormones. We need them. So anyway, I'll have to do a whole other special, I think, on hormones and HRT and hormone health, because it's a big thing. But there are lots of resources out there. I have recorded lots of podcasts over the many years that I've been researching and writing about all of this. This is from Claire. Oh, thank you. Claire on YouTube says, thank you, Liz, and your team for sharing your knowledge and helping so many others during midlife and menopause. I got my life back on track thanks to Estrogel and feel so much better. Just entering week 6 of your Good Gut Guide program too. I feel good. Thank you. That's really, really good. Yeah, so the Good Gut Guide, we do have a few copies, not many, but I do have a few that I've signed here on the farm. And again, you do get your free notebooks with them. So if you want to grab your Good Gut Guide, it's a great time of year actually to be doing a gut health program, I think, as we come into spring and whole new fresh start and out of lockdown, and let's kind of get fresh and healthy and back on track. So this is interesting. That's also from Olive on Facebook. Hi, you're busy today. You've said, I've just had the Life Code GX report done and found out I do not absorb vitamin D. No wonder I have osteopenia already. Brilliant report to have. Yeah, isn't that amazing? I'm so grateful. We found out that my younger daughter, Brella, she also is not converting vitamin D at all. I mean, she was red on her report all the way through. I was a mix of green and yellow, but she was red. And she's on really high strength vitamin D, and her mood, her anxiety is lifted. And of course, as a young woman, she's 20, but I know now that she's protecting her bone health for later. So really, really important. If you want to know more, in case anybody's wondering what I'm talking about, the Life Code GX, have a look at them online, and there is a feature. I'm just so impressed with it that I've actually given them a whole feature in this current issue. Gosh, there's so much in this issue. It's a really good one. I hope you're enjoying it. So this, it's a really good read. It's a long read. And I wrote this because I felt really strongly about it. And I wrote about my personal plan here, about what it did for me and why I wanted to share it. And then over the page, there's an article with the founder, Emma Bezic. I've done a YouTube with her. You might want to watch it. It's really good. And she put together a special package for us, because normally you have to go through a practitioner. And I said, well, that's not really that helpful for, my community here. It's much better if we can access it directly. What can you do? So she has given us a special code. You can only find this through our link. Okay, it's special to us. You won't find it on the website if you just go on there generally. I mean, go on there generally and have a look, but if you then want to buy it, you need to go through the link that she's done for us. So what it is she gives you the DNA testing kit. Comes through the post. It's like a little brush, and you just do a little cheek swab, like that. Send it away in the little plastic file that they send you, and then about 3 weeks later they give you the report. And the report's really interesting, but it's a little bit complicated to read. You can see headlines, but actually if you want to really drill down into the information. So what she's added, and this is the bonus bit, is we get half an hour as a one-to-one with a practitioner on Zoom or Skype or whatever, actually to go through the report, just you and the practitioner, to actually really explain what it means. And I am so thankful. It was Lily that first put me onto it. Well, it was Dr. Tina Pears who told Lily about it for histamine, and then she did the report, and she came up with all these genetic variances that are part of her autoimmune issue. And then I thought, well, I really want to write about this, so I'll do it for myself. So I did it, and I discovered all sorts of things, including glutathione, which I block, which again is going to be a subject for another day, because that's really interesting. And since taking glutathione, I feel so much better for that. And anyway, so I'm really pleased, Olive, that you've done it. You can see, if you've got your magazine, it tells you a bit about it here. If you haven't got it, I think, Lainey, maybe can you pop the link up on Facebook for the Life Code GX, because that takes you to, they've kind of got a hidden page on their website, which is just for us. So you need that link. And then when you're there, you put the code in at the checkout. You still need to use Liz Loves. That gets your discount. So the link takes you to the special package. And then the Liz Loves gets you, I think it's about £70 off. I think, it's not cheap. I think the basic price, I think, is about £400. And then you put the Liz Loves and it comes down to about 330. So it's definitely worth having. But honestly, once you've got that information, you've got it for life then, because our genes don't change. Lots of variables change. We get, stress factors and hormones and all of those things that change throughout our life, which means that we might need to adapt and change and, take a bit more of this or a bit less of that. But your genes are your genes. So, for Brella, doing that test at 20 was amazing because it just opened up all this information that she needed. If she'd done the test when she was, 57, my age, she would have had the same result, but she just would have gone 37 years without knowing that she was not absorbing vitamin D. And so now in order to get enough vitamin D into her system, she has to really overload it. And we know it's safe for her because we know that that's how her genes are working and she can be tested and all of that. So it's honestly, it's really, really good. And I know that so many of you have done it. It's, really interesting. And thank you for all those who've been leaving comments about it because it's so encouraging for others, I think. Go and have a look. I did the YouTube with Emma. So it's probably about a month or so ago. So if you go to my YouTube channel and then you can read some of the comments underneath of all the people who've done it and what they've discovered, it's amazing. Oh, is that somebody saying that you can buy Estrogel over the counter in Spain? How very interesting. I know that in some countries you can go into a pharmacy. I think you must be right actually. I think you can get HRT patches over the counter, can't you, in Spain? So there'd be no reason why you couldn't get the Estrogel as well. I mean, it's so safe and it's so effective and it's so simple. It's heartbreaking that there's so much misinformation about it. But I think it will change. I think, we unfortunately are the kind of the test generation. And as women become more empowered, as we find out more and more about it and we really discover the truth about it, you just want to shout about it and you just want to share it with all your friends and your family and your sisters and, shake the GPs who don't know about it or who are still, subject to misinformation. And to be fair to them, it's often not their fault. They get the wrong information given to them. So they're still doing their job, But what I love about Menopause Doctor is that she is training GPs. She runs a private clinic because there's no job for her in the NHS. She says to me, look, she says, I don't want to run a private clinic. I don't want to have to be doing this. I don't want to see women more than once. I want to help them, give them their prescription that they can then take to their NHS GP and then be on their way and get better. She's got like a 6-month waiting list. It's crazy. And they've got now, I think they've got over 20 GPs and doctors working there at the clinic. And of course it's virtual now, which is really good. You don't have to travel. Before you had to go to Stratford-on-Avon to see them. Now you can do it online. And they do have practice nurses as well who are also prescribing nurses. So there is a less expensive appointment that you can get with them with a prescribing nurse. So I think if you're really just quite a simple case, then I think that is quite a good option. I think some people are more complicated, maybe because they've had a history of breast cancer directly, or maybe because they're estrogen or rather progesterone sensitive. Some women can be very sensitive to progesterone. So, you may need to discuss that more with a doctor. So they have lots of doctors there, but they also have prescribing nurses, and that is a cheaper way to go and see them. But, ultimately, as Louise says to me time and time again, I shouldn't be having to do this. But a lot of what she does behind the scenes is train GPs. I think there was something, I saw it on her stories, I think one weekend, and she just trained, I think, another 19 GPs on a medical training course. So that's 19 more out in the UK who are hopefully then going back into their surgeries. And she said it's such a fulfilling job as a doctor because you get women coming in who are often at their wits' end, despairing, achy joints, painful bones, brain fog, vaginal dryness, anxiety, all these things. And she says, I give them a bit of estrogen and they get well. And they have their lives back, and marriages are saved, and jobs are continued, and family life is restored, and sleep is restored. And anyway, I always end up going on and on about it, don't I? And I absolutely swear to you, I have no vested interest. I genuinely, I'm literally, I just talk about it because it's just so incredibly helpful. I've never taken a penny from the pharmaceutical industry. I just wouldn't. it's not my bag, and it's just important to get unbiased, evidence-based information, not vested interest. I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's just, please just read up about it, just be helped, so. Oh, your GP unwilling to prescribe, he doesn't want you to have breast cancer. I mean, please download my e-guide, The Truth About HRT. Okay, please download it. Try and get the information to your GP. It's really hard for a lot of GPs because a lot of them are not up to date with the NHS nice guidelines on menopause, and it's a real struggle. And even the instructions actually in the Estrogel packs haven't been updated and say that there's a link. So I don't blame the GPs, and I know they're very busy, and obviously there've been really more than difficult times this last year for GPs. But there is a lot of information out there, and it's a lottery, isn't it? It's a postcode lottery. Some women will say to me, "Oh, Liz, it was so amazing. I went to my GP and they said, yeah, of course. Here you go. Absolutely. Of course you can have it." In fact, I was talking to a friend of mine who better remain nameless because she's, very much in the public eye. But I was talking to her last week and she said, I've got, she'd moved house and she said, I've got 2 GPs. I'm just about to re-register. And my old GP practice kept ringing me up saying, you need to come off HRT now. You're in your late 50s, you've been on it for so long, you need to come off it. And my new GP surgery is like, yeah, well, how many repeat prescriptions do you want? Of course you can stay on it. So there is this. They talk about a postcode lottery, don't they, for all sorts of things, and unfortunately that is the way it is. And some people say, well, just change your GP. And of course, we can do that. You can ask to see a different GP. You can change practices. It's not always easy, but you can do it. But actually, I don't feel that that's the answer. I think the answer is to better educate the GPs, because for every GP that gives you wrong information, if you just leave and go away, they're going to give the next woman the wrong information, and the next woman, and the next woman, and that doesn't actually make the situation any better. So it is about getting the information out there. It was International Women's Day, so it must have been the beginning of March last year and the year before, I think. I gave 2 talks locally down in the West Country, and in fact the second day was so popular we had to run it twice. We did one in the afternoon and one in the evening, and I emailed all the local doctor surgeries and medical practices and said, look, just please come, just please come to this talk because you're going to need to, because you're suddenly going to find that there's a whole load of women in the area who are going to be beating a path to your door, having heard about the benefits and safety of HRT, and they're going to be coming to you. So, you need to know that. But also, let me give you the updated information, because you may not have heard it. And, the response was overwhelmingly positive. It was, doctors being really open and, for the most part, not all, unfortunately, but for the most part. One even emailed me afterwards and said, what are the best patches to prescribe? And how do I prescribe testosterone? So I thought, well, that's good. And I said, well, listen, don't ask me. I'm not the doctor. I can give you the research, but I obviously put her in touch with Louise Newson. So, it is about educating from the ground up, isn't it? Sometimes you just need to do that. Sometimes you can't wait for it to come from the top down. You just have to get out there and, present the information in a non-confrontational, very easy way, but stand your ground. Be firm. I also say, and I'm going to stop now because I've been talking for way too long, but, I do say, listen, just it's your body. It's your choice. It's your health. It's your future. And there is this thing, and we're hearing a lot about it now, this other phrase that's come in, it's about informed consent. Informed consent is what we need. And we can do what we want with our bodies. They're our bodies. And at the end of the day, the GP is a service provider. We pay with our taxes to provide a healthcare service. And it's not a dictatorship. It's about working with women. And if you read the nice guidelines on menopause, they're very clear about how women need to be offered a choice. It says that in the guidelines. It says women need to be offered a choice of different HRT options. So again, it's all there. My Truth About HRT. Do please grab yourself a copy. You can download it. You can print it off. You can take it with you. And there's lots and lots of information. on the Earle Wellbeing website, particularly about how to talk to GPs. And at the end of the day, if all else fails, there's also a section, unfortunately, about how to file a complaint and how to get help that way. But that, that has to be last resort. It's not about being difficult, about being troublesome. It's about being, hopefully, trying to help GPs to better help us so they can help more women in turn. So, I always say, if you've been helped, please pass the baton on. It's like a relay race. Take the baton, benefit from it, pass it on, and hopefully we'll be a better society for it. Anyway, I'm going to have to stop there. Yes, you can print it off and hand it to your GP. Absolutely. Nikki says here, my mum is, Natalie, sorry, says my mum is 76, has taken it for 36 years. She looks great on it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, my mum's gone back onto it. My mum is 81. She doesn't mind me saying so. I have got her permission to share that. Totally, Sheepridge. The leaflet is wrong. And again, we're trying to change that. Dr. Louise Newson and many others. By the way, two things that you can also do, I'm going to throw in there very quickly as resources. One is there's the Balance app. So she's developed this brilliant app. It's a free app. So it's not a money-making app. It's free. And you can keep track of your symptoms. There's forums, there's information. So that's the Balance app, the Menopause app. And the other thing that's going to be happening shortly is the Menopause charity. So I'm one of their ambassadors. So is Lorraine Kelly. So is Davina McCall. So there's a lot of high-profile women there in the media who are getting this information across. And that was crowd-funded. So the website's being built. There's some really interesting things going on. We're trying to get some funds to do various bits of research. And again, it's an independently run charity, and they've taken the decision not to take any funding from pharmaceutical industry. So a lot of charities obviously are funded by pharmaceuticals because that's how they get a big chunk of their revenue, but they decided to stay completely impartial, which was why it was so great that it was crowdfunded, because it was like for women by women. So watch this space. When I've got a bit more to share about the Menopause charity, then there'll be lots. And I'm so excited about that because I think it's just such a great resource to have for women globally, because you can log in online, you can check wherever you are in the world. You can go to menopausecharity.org, I think it is. I don't think there's much up there at the moment. I think there might just be a holding page. But the Balance app is something, I think it's had over 60,000 downloads globally. So that's again something to share with our girlfriends, and it's free and it's good evidence-based information. Anyway, I am going to stop now. This was supposed to be just Makeup Monday, talking all about lovely, glowy, pretty things, but I hope that's brightened everybody's day. I'm going to put my lovely Annie Reid headband back on, I think. How about that? A little bit of glam. I feel super glam now for a Monday. Definitely ready to start the week. Anyway, thank you for being with me. I've got a new video going up on YouTube tomorrow, so make sure that you subscribe to the Earle Wellbeing YouTube channel. And there is a new podcast coming out on Wednesday. I hope you heard last week's. That was just so interesting, talking about vitamin C with Dr. Levy. And of course, the Friday 5 with Dr. Asim Malhotra, talking about sugar and fat. Again, really topical. Anyway, lots of love to you. Thank you for being with me today. Take care. Sending love. Bye-bye.